What's up, guys? Georgia absolutely annihilated Vanderbilt 62 to nothing. This game was just never close at all. My goodness. From start to finish, it was clear as day who the better team was. Georgia was, I think, a 35 and a half point road favorite to start the game off. I can look real quick. Yeah, Georgia was 36 was a 36-point favorite. Game started exactly how you thought it would start. Vandy starts with the ball. Vandy does nothing. They go 3 plays, -3 yards. Georgia forces them to punt. And literally on the first punt, it wasn't a great punt at all for Vanderbilt. And Georgia was able to go down the field on just 5 plays, score a touchdown. JT Daniels handed the ball off on on a tight end of round rush, which was definitely a Monken play call, which was fun to see. Then Georgia holds Vandy to 4 yards on the next drive. Another punt. Georgia goes down and scores on 8 plays, this time for 63 yards. And this time it was a Brock Bowers passing touchdown. Then Vanderbilt fumbles the kickoff, recovered by Dewan Edwards, running back for Georgia. He was able to get all the way to the 4, almost scored on that play. Georgia punches it in on the next 2 plays. Vanderbilt then throws an interception to Chris Smith on a deflection. A terrible read by Ken Seals. We'll talk about Ken Seals in a second. And Georgia goes down and scores. Georgia scored 35 points in the first quarter. They could have possibly even scored more. Like, this game was just out of reach. But then Kirby Smart takes JT Daniels out, a couple other starters on the offense, puts Stetson Bennett in. Georgia goes 3 drives with an interception, a turnover on downs, and a field goal with Stetson Bennett to end the first half 38 to nothing. Then Georgia's defense did what Georgia's defense does best, holding Vanderbilt to a staggering under 100 yards of total offense, which is insane. Vanderbilt had just 4 first downs in this game. But as I was saying, in the second half, Stetson Bennett comes in. He scores 2 more touchdowns. They take him out. And then they put Carson Beck in. Carson Beck hands the ball off majority of the time. Just went 1 for 3 passing. Nothing really too special. We didn't get to see him do much with the ball. I believe he did have 1 carry. Lasser had an interception, which was fun to see. That was a really, really good play on the ball, a terrible throw. But, yeah, just looking at the box score, it was completely one-sided, just like the game. But, man, Ken Seals just went 2 of 9 for 8 yards in an interception. Was not sacked. A lot of people thought that he was sacked. Ken Seals rushed it 2 times for -6 yards. They get in, I think, a true freshman QB, Mike Wright. I know he's a sophomore. He doesn't do anything better. He went, 3 of 9 for 16 yards. He threw an interception. He carried the ball well, I guess you could say. He was their leading rusher. But, yeah, Vanderbilt carried the ball 28 times for 53 yards. And what's more impressive is that Vandy was held to just 24 yards passing. 24 on 18 attempts. That's barely even a yard per attempt. Georgia's defense dominates. Vanderbilt had no answer on either side of the ball, as expected, though, as expected. But this was one of the worst college football games I've seen, especially in the SEC. The final box score was this. Georgia had 28 first downs compared to Vanderbilt's 4. Georgia went 6 of 14. That's not great on third downs. I believe they went 3 of 3 with JT Daniels in. So you can say what you want about that, but Georgia had 532 yards of total offense compared to Vandy, who had 77 yards of total offense. Doesn't get better than that. And then passing, as we just said, Georgia had 291 compared to Vandy's 24. Georgia had 3 QBs pass the ball. Really, Carson Beck just went 1 for 3. So, but combined, they went 21 of 28 for like I said, 291. I think they had one interception thrown, a couple touchdown passes. Vandy, like I said, had 24 yards passing. Time of possession was dominated by UGA, 37 minutes to 22 and a half. So, I mean, it is what it is if you're a Vanderbilt fan. I said this. I think a lot of people know this. Vandy's just not that good. Vandy's probably one of the worst Power 5 teams. But to see UGA completely dominate this game like they did and absolutely obliterated Vandy is great to see. Vandy falls now to just 1-3, 0-3 at home. They're actually 1-0 on the road. They beat Colorado State on the road. So there's that. But yeah, Georgia looks like one of the best teams in the country. And I'm going to put this back up here just because is UGA the best team in the country? I want to hear what you guys think with that. But then again, we haven't seen Alabama play against Southern Miss tonight. I think Alabama will roll against Southern Miss, kind of like what UGA did. I don't know if they can win 62-0. So winning the game like UGA did is very, very hard. And that's pretty much it. That's your post game for you. Georgia dominated Vandy 62-0 on the road in Nashville. This game was never close. It got ugly early. It finished almost as bad as it started. But anyway, guys, let me see some of your comments here. What's up, George? Go Gators. The Gators have a big game tonight. They got Tennessee. Oh, what's up, Chris? What's up, Chris? But yeah, the Gators got Tennessee tonight. Vols suck. But yeah, the Gators have Tennessee tonight. Florida is a 20.5 point favorite. I think it may have been lowered to 20. I told people I'm taking Tennessee in those points. Oh, wow. Boston College just scored a touchdown. Dang, Missouri not looking good for Mizzou, and that would be a bad loss to Boston College. But Tennessee is I think 20.5 point. No, 19. Only a 19 now. It was originally 20.5. I told people jump on that 20.5. You might be able to make yourself some good money because I think Florida will win this game, but I think Tennessee can keep this one close. Is UGA? It's a little bit. It's both. Vanderbilt's very, very, very bad, but Georgia is elite. Georgia is good enough to win you a national title this year, especially if they get George Pickens back, Dominic Blaylock. He should be back next week, which we will talk about here in a couple minutes. Arkansas, and we got to see Arkansas tonight or in a couple minutes here. They play A&M. That is going to be a very good game, and that is a baseline game for Arkansas for what they've done so far this year. But Georgia is a very, very good team. Georgia is a top 2 team right now. It's them. It's between them and Vandy. It's between them and Alabama. And I think Georgia can give Alabama a good run for their money. In fact, I think they could win. But I'm not going to pick them to win right now. BC is a good team. Yes, BC is a good team, but they're without Jacobrick. Man, I can't even say his name. Phil, the quarterback. Phil Jacobrick. There you go. Who was one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. Boston College is on the road. Missouri is on the road. Boston College is a good team. I said that. I thought they were an 8-win team this year, but a lot of people thought Missouri was going to be that special team, or at least the team that can win 8 or 9 games. And if you're losing to Boston College, you have no shot in the SEC. Gators going down. Gators going down when dogs get them. Yeah, that game's in what? 4 or 5, 6 weeks because of bye. 6 weeks. Georgia's going to be a double-digit favorite. If they played right now, I'd take Georgia double digits. Florida is a very, very, very good rush team. Georgia is one of the best, if not the best, rush offensive teams in the country. So there is that. But everyone knows who Georgia has next. And I'm going to ask you guys this question. I keep asking questions. And here's my question for you guys, and I'll answer this. Is Arkansas good enough to compete with UGA? As of right now, I say no. I'm sorry. Arkansas, especially KJ Jefferson, he's been very, very good on the ground. Through the air has been a question mark. I mean, he's passed for what, almost 700 yards in 3 games. It's not amazing. First game of the year, struggled against Rice. Rice, the same team Texas beat almost 70-0. I think it was 58-0. Arkansas obviously beat Texas. I know, I get it. I actually predicted Arkansas to win that game. Texas loses those games all the time. Texas, dating back to the Mac Brown era, has gone 2-1 or 1-2 every year since Mac Brown was the head coach, and they lose these types of games. There was a year in which Texas lost to a 4-win UCLA team. They lost to BYU back-to-back. They lost to Maryland back-to-back. They lost to California, who went 4-8 and 5-7. They lost to California back-to-back years. So Arkansas is a good team. All right, we're going to see them tonight against Texas A&M. I'm taking A&M in that game. Here's why. Arkansas's pass game worries me, and not a good way. I don't think they're good enough to win the game through the air, and that's what A&M, Georgia, Alabama, pretty much any other SEC team is going to do. They're going to force Arkansas to throw the ball. They're going to load. They're going to stack that box. Georgia, the best rush team in the country. I would take Georgia in whatever the spread is next week to cover against Arkansas, because it's going to be lower than you think, in my opinion, unless Arkansas gets blown out today. If Arkansas wins, we're looking at a Georgia minus 17.5, maybe even 20. If Arkansas loses, probably around the same, maybe even 20, 22, 24. But if they get blown out, Georgia could be close to 28-point favorite. Now, I would probably take UGA. I'm just not sold on that Arkansas offense. I think they can get some stops defensively. I don't think Georgia's just going to go in. It's a noon game, by the way. I don't think Georgia's just going to go in at home and pound Arkansas like they did Vandy or even South Carolina. But I do expect Georgia to win that game. And I don't think Arkansas is good enough just yet under Sam Pittman to beat UGA. So I would take UGA in the points against Arkansas next week. Who do you think starting quarterback should be for Georgia? Clearly JT Daniels. This is not even close. JT Daniels had yet again another really good game. He only played 1 quarter, went 9 of 10 for 129 yards and a touchdown. And again, he only played 1 quarter. I think 5 drives. One was at their own 4. The other one was at the UG or at the Vandy 20-yard line. I mean, Georgia was owning field position as well. I mean, Georgia, the average field position in this game was, I think they had the ball at the Georgia 45, which is insane. And Vandy had it at their own 20-something, which, is what it is. But it's JT Daniels. Stetson Bennett is not good enough, in my opinion. I'm sorry, to take Georgia where they want to go. Georgia wants to be a national championship team this year. JT Daniels is the guy. JT Daniels is for sure the guy. Mobility-wise, it is what it is. He can't really make plays on the ground. So, but through the air, he's an elite passer. So we'll see. Missouri. Oh, wow. Missouri just kicked a 30-something yard field goal to, I think, send this game to overtime. So Missouri has a shot, guys. As of right now, I think it's 34 up. Boston College must have missed an extra point. Wow. I hope Missouri wins that game because I like seeing the SEC teams win. But that's a bad loss on the road to Boston College. But, yeah. See what else we got here. I have 2 TVs on right now, believe it or not. I have the Wisconsin game right here and the Missouri game right there. You can't really see Graham Mertz throws. Oh, my. But Graham Mertz is not looking great right now. Oh, this is how you say it. Jurkovec. There you go. Thanks, Chris. UGA wins by 17. I don't think Arkansas is good enough offensively to compete with UGA. UGA has a very, very, very good offense. Georgia is a top 10 offense right now, period. And I guess we could talk about this. Georgia, I mean, there's really nothing to talk about in the run game. Georgia is just way better than Vanderbilt. They were able to do anything against Vandy. Pass, run, just didn't matter. I mean, you had some times in which, the short down, it was 4th and 1. Georgia was at the Vandy, 3 or 4 yard line. Georgia couldn't get a yard. They had Stetson Bennett in, handed it off to James Cook. I would not have handed it off to James Cook. He's not a power back. That's something Zeus will get majority of the time. But again, it was 35-0. So, woof. Yep, dogs roll today. This game was a slaughter. It was a complete blowout. Yeah. I expected it to be, a Georgia win. I think I predicted 45-3. Final was 62-0. There's nothing really you could say bad about UGA. Stetson Bennett made some bad throws. Okay, again up 35-0. I don't understand why JT Daniels was taken out in the first quarter. Again, you see some of these other quarterbacks stay in majority of at least the first half. Yeah, there wasn't a running clock, but there were times in which the clock was running for no reason, and I think it's kind of funny that happened. Okay, I'll see you, Chris. A win is a win. Yeah, no one is at all disappointed with the 62-0 win. But back to the running clock, and oh man, Wisconsin missed the field goal. Great. There goes my pick. But yeah, there were times in which the clock was just running for no reason after an incompletion for Vandy. I guess they just want to get out of there. A win is a win. Like I said, no one at all is disappointed with the 62-0 win. Of course, you want your team to win 100-0 every week and score a touchdown every drive, give up 0 yards. I mean, Georgia played as close to perfect as you could possibly play. Okay, again, 62-0 against an SEC team. I don't care if it's Vandy. I know Vandy's been bad. Vandy hasn't won a game since 2019. But a win is a win, So, Georgia has Arkansas next. Arkansas, like I said, they are a good team. They'll be ranked more than likely against Georgia. They'll be ready with a game plan. It is a road game for Arkansas. It's a noon game. We've seen some of these crazy things happen at noon. Believe it or not, today, how about Minnesota went down? I know this is not SEC, but just to prove, Bowling Green is a terrible team. Bowling Green hadn't won a game since 2019 as well. Bowling Green was also a 30.5-point road underdog. They go into Minnesota. And beat Minnesota. Anything can happen in college football, but with these noon games especially, anything can happen. 25 could it be a 25-point favorite potentially? Again, my prediction on the spread would be, I think Georgia minus 23.5, 24, maybe even 25. If it's a blowout tonight against A&M and A&M blows them out, then I could potentially see Georgia being close to 30-point favorite. But I don't know if Vegas will roll the dice on that. That's just my opinion. I don't know if there's any point to roll that, but we'll see. Vegas is crazy. Vegas is crazy. So looks like Missouri and Boston College are starting OT. Looks like Boston College is about to score. But yeah, Missouri gets the ball next. Again, we should talk about Missouri and some of these SEC East teams. Kentucky didn't look good last week, but they did look good in the first 2 games. Vanderbilt, we already played them, played South Carolina, beat them by a combined 102-13. So these games were just not close. But then the tougher games are ahead. You got through Vandy and South Carolina. That's great. We got them in a row. Those 2 teams are bad. Those are probably the 2 worst teams that will play and then down the road, Like I said, you got Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida in a 4-week span. Do get that bye before Florida though, but Arkansas, give Arkansas a lot of credit this year. They're 3-0. They're a little bit better than what people thought. Maybe even a lot better depending on who you are. I think I don't want to be mean to Arkansas fans. Sam Pittman is doing a phenomenal job. Nice job, Jimmy. My name is actually not Jimmy, but thanks though. But yeah, Razorback Sam's not coming close. But yeah, give Sam Pittman a lot of credit. He's done a phenomenal job at Arkansas. He went 3-7 last year, in a year in which they were only predicted to win half a game, 0.5 games. So 0 or 1 game. That's what a lot of people predicted for them. And they win 3 games. They beat a ranked team. They beat Tennessee, and then they beat who was the last team they beat? Ole Miss. They beat Ole Miss too. They beat Mississippi State on the road, which was a ranked win. They beat Ole Miss, and then they beat Tennessee. And then this year, they win a huge game at home. The crowd stormed the field, which was fun to watch. But that was just a great win for Sam Pittman. He's just not there yet, guys. Arkansas is a good team. They're a 6 or 7 win team this year. That's just the reality, honestly. I'd be surprised if they won 8 games, honestly. If they do pick up a win today, they have a shot at 8 games, though. So, Georgia rolls. No other questions I can see. This is a oh my goodness. Missouri just threw an interception. Boston College has just upset Missouri. So, yeah, Georgia plays Missouri down the road. Missouri has not looked good at all through these first 4 weeks. A loss to Kentucky. They should have lost that one by at least 2 scores. Kentucky was just way better than Missouri on that day. But they only lost by 7, and now they lose on the road to Boston College. I'm not at all thrilled with Missouri. Again, Missouri and Tennessee are close, in my opinion. But Tennessee has a big game tonight. I don't think Tennessee is going to win, but I do think Tennessee can cover that spread at 19. It's close, though. That's going to be close. I think if Tennessee doesn't cover, it's because of a late touchdown for Florida. I think Florida will win that game by at least 10 points. But after that big Alabama game, an emotional loss, it's hard to replicate that and get a big win, even against a lesser opponent. So, and Florida, oh my goodness, Boston College stormed the field. That's kind of funny, beating Missouri. So there's that. But yeah, just looking at the other SEC East teams, Tennessee, Georgia should win by at least 30. Missouri, Georgia should win by at least 30. Georgia beat Missouri by 35 last year. So, and Missouri was ranked, and that was a road game, but it was COVID. So, and who else did we have? Also have Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Auburn. So that's what Georgia has left as the SEC. And got an FCS team and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech defensively has looked okay. Offensively, they've looked pretty bad. So they're down to a 3rd-string QB, I believe. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Georgia looks good enough to go 12-0. If they can replicate what they do week in and week out, they'll go 12-0. Florida, we'll talk about this. I don't want to leave hanging like this. Where are you at? I got to do something real quick. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Who is Georgia's toughest opponent? At banner. I want your guys' opinion. I'm going to tell you mine in a sec. As of right now, who is Georgia's toughest opponent? You got to go Florida. Florida or Kentucky, in my opinion. Auburn is another really good team. Auburn's ranked. And going on the road to Auburn is always hard to do. Georgia is 14-3 against Auburn in the last 17 meetings. 2 losses came on the road to a top 15 Auburn team. Actually, a top 10 Auburn team. Is Auburn a top 10 team this year? No. Georgia is a top 2 team. Not as worried as I should be. Bo Nix has looked better, in my opinion, than what he has in the past. So Auburn is a good team. Auburn is a very good team. I think Florida and Kentucky are going to be just a little bit tougher games. Dan Mullen, if you watched that Alabama game, what he does best is create some of those misdirections on the passes, like with the tight ends, the slot wide receivers, and even the running backs. Florida's tight ends had, I think, 10 catches against Bama for 80 or 90 yards. The slot wide receiver, who's one of the slowest slot wide receivers I've ever seen, Whittemore, had a couple catches. The 2 outside wide receivers, Henderson and Jacob Copeland, they were just held to 2 catches on, I think, 5 or 6 targets. So, and that's what I expect the game plan to be when it comes to Georgia, except Florida's going to have to be able to pass the ball. Is Anthony Richardson going to be the starting QB for Florida at that point in time? I don't know. I don't know if Dan Mullen has enough to just throw out AR and let Anthony Richardson be the starting QB. If it was me, I would start Anthony Richardson. He's got the higher potential. He's more talented, and he's better, in my opinion. So, but Florida's defensively, their front 7 has looked really, really good. And in fact, their defense has looked solid, in my opinion. But in their front 7, I don't think they've given up over 100 yards yet this year. So that's a plus side with Florida. And they were really good last year, their front 7. It's been the cornerbacks. And their defense played good enough to beat Bama, if we're being real. After the first quarter, they gave up 21 points in the first quarter. You can't do that against Alabama. You can't do that against Georgia. Georgia's defense is good enough to hold Florida under 14, under 17. Do I think Florida will score on UGA? I think they can. Do I think they will? I don't think so as of right now. I think that front 7 for UGA is by far the best in the country, period. But is good enough to hold Florida under 150 yards rushing. That might be a lot to you, but Florida's offensive line and Florida's running backs have been good enough to produce that, and I think they could. Get to 150 yards rushing against UGA. Could. I do not expect it, but I think they could. Could and expect are different. But yeah, I think Florida is the toughest. Kentucky's the second toughest. Their quarterback, Will Levis, has looked much better than any other quarterback that they've had in a long time. He's been able to make throws down the field. That's a plus side for Kentucky. They have Josh Ali, Robinson, a couple solid wide receivers. The rushing game, it's Kentucky. They can run the ball on just about anybody. Again, can they do that against Georgia? I don't think so. So it is what it is. And then I would probably have Auburn as Georgia's 3rd toughest game, with Arkansas right behind at 4. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. You should be happy with a win if you're a Georgia fan. 62-0 against Vanderbilt. Again, Georgia played as close to perfect as you can get. So, it is what it is. I feel bad for Vandy. Vandy's probably going 1-11. I'll be surprised if Vandy wins another game. Oh, they do play UConn. So Vandy's probably going 2-10. I'll be surprised if they win an SEC game, if I'm being real. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna go watch these 3:30 games. Gotta watch Arkansas, Texas A&M. That's your homework, guys. Go watch Arkansas's, especially their front 7. I want to see them play against a decent offensive line, not a great offensive line in A&M. They got some NFL talent, but 3 really good running backs. Well, 2, and then Anarius Smith is a slot wide receiver that they use in the run game sometimes. But A-Chain and Isaiah Spiller, probably the best running back duo in the SEC, maybe even in the country. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Peace.